Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Today we are starting a deep dive into the Police. I didn't think that I'd heard any of their music before, but then somebody told me that the lead singer is Sting, and I realized I had seen him before in the TV series Only Murders in the Building. It was great, highly recommend. And I recognized also the song title, so I've probably heard them in passing, but today I'm excited to deep dive into and study Sting's voice for the first time. Let's get to it.
Every breath you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you.
So just so y'all know, I chose the Live Aid version of this because I've never ever heard them do any live performance, and I was really excited to get into this technique a little bit more. I looked at all of these lists of how many movies this song has been placed in. I was like, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a song that I think is a little bit creepy. So a little more familiarity with the song than I previously thought. But I'm really excited to see the Live Aid version in particular because it's just a legendary concert, right? So many amazing performers there. And I feel that the sound quality is generally very good as well. And so we can really get into the nitty-gritties of the voice. I was impressed by how he just dove into the sound. It was immediately very, well, there's a gentle sound to his voice. It's just immediately very present and strong.
Every breath you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
So notice how well he's using his breath, which is ironic. Every breath you take, he uses his breath very well. And I think that if you're going to have this kind of exposed beginning, it's important to rely on the steadiness of your breath. And he basically takes the breath and launches in right away. It's important not to hold or stack that breath, try and keep it back before that moment. Just the moment that you start breathing, that's when you start singing. It's not the moment you start vocalizing, because then you will have clinched it, and that's no bueno. Additionally, he actually combines a few of these phrases together. He's not breathing between them, and that comes back to stacking, which I mentioned before. A lot of times people think that, oh, I can get more air and more air and more air, and they'll keep taking extra breaths in the song, but not actually using all of their air up. Sometimes we call this stacking because it ends up making it so there's a lot of dead air inside, and you need fresh air to sing on. So you actually have to get rid of all that dead air, which means you need to pay attention to breath planning very carefully. Don't take too many, don't take too few, and make sure that you're using up the breaths you do take. Notice where he does and doesn't take breaths in this phrase.
Every breath you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
So those last three were hooked together.
Every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you.
I love the way he really lingers on, what's the word here?
Every word you say, every game you
I
play,
didn't find it.
every night you stay, I'll be watching
Wait
you.
for it. Wait for it. It's this next phrase.
Oh, can't you see?
Nope, I missed it. I didn't go back far enough. That's what happened. See, I'm not that familiar with the song. One more time. That one, every single day.
Every single day.
I love the lingering on that. And when he releases it, it almost sounds like the sound is just continuing. It's like it hovers. And then right after that, there's a couple moments where there's one part where he goes up and he's actually just a tiny bit under the pitch. And I think that's a really good indication that we don't have pitch correction happening at this concert. I think it's really important to have realistic expectations of singers. And it frustrates me when we have a lot of post-production, post or like a lot of fixing in a live situation. And here I think that we just have a really nice, clean sound that is very easy to analyze.
Every word you say, every game
Right there, just a tiny bit under, superhuman.
Oh, can't you see you belong to me? I'm a poor ex with every step you take.
And here's one of the reasons that I also chose this version. It's because we have Phil Collins actually doing our backing vocals, who I really love his work. I know it's shocking we haven't gotten into Sting's work, but we've gotten into Phil Collins. I think it's a beautiful combination of voices. There's something that is so fundamentally similar in their tones. They sing together like they were born to sing together. Fantastic. Let's go back to where we get that duet.
Can't you see you belong to me? I'm a poor ex with every step you take.
It has to do with the vowel formation, but it also really has to do with how they're using their air. I think the tone qualities have a nice balance of air in the tone. So it's strong, but it isn't pointed, right? So it's a very balanced tone. It feels well-rounded overall. And both of them naturally have this in their voice and really have enhanced that with great breath control.
Oh, can't you see you belong to me? I'm a poor ex with every step you take.
That's good support on that high note too.
Every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
Oh my word. I've again heard this in passing a couple times, and I remember at one point thinking it was creepy. And I read a little more into the creation of this song. There is a rumor out there, by the way, that this was written about like a little kid. And if you think about it in that light, like if I think about my 2-year-old son, I'm like, every breath you take, I'll be watching you. Like that's super sweet because it's super true. Like I don't want to miss one breath. But this was, from what I've read, this was not written about a kid. This is actually written partly about a breakup, and is really about a jealous lover situation. It is super creepy. And even he, at one point, I looked up some quotes. He wrote, "It sounds like a comforting love song. I didn't realize at the time how sinister it is. I think I was thinking of Big Brother, surveillance, and control." And then later he went on to, by the way, say that it was actually very, very sinister the more he listened to it. So I think it's amazing when there's that moment where they talk about every smile you fake. That was the first time I'd heard that lyric. I was like, oh yeah. Oh my gosh, if you're watching and stalking somebody that much, that is creepy, man.
Every smile you fake,
That.
every step you take, I'll be watching you.
Yeah, and those harmonies aren't perfectly locked in, but I still like them.
Since you're gone, I'll be lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold that I long for your embrace. I keep crying, baby, baby, please.
Ooh, I loved that section. I think this version is much more stripped down than the original too. It's so wonderful to hear like the vocals in so much detail. I love the support that is happening underneath his top there. It feels like it's grounded in the body. I'm going to see if I can watch that more. I was also really paying attention to the trade-off between the two voices. This is a dream pair of voices together. I love these voices together. Who's with me? Oh, back a little bit more.
Since you're gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold that I long for your embrace. I keep
Wow. So, one word about the grounded support. It's really important if you're playing an instrument and singing at the same time that you're not hunching over it. I think one of the reasons he sounds like he has such fluid breath is because he has amazing posture that really helps to support the voice and help that fluid airflow go. Sometimes people do this and they end up getting this like kink in their vocal tract. That's a bad idea. And if you do this, same thing where you get a kink the other direction, the air just can't move fluidly through it. And even if you're collapsing your chest, you're cutting off a bunch of air capacity there. The idea with a well-supported voice, there's so many different things that go into it. It's your whole body, really. But I think as a general concept, if you think about making sure that you just have movement available to support the air, that's a good place to start from. You don't want to get crunched into a specific position. And both of them actually have just really nice shoulder posture and torso posture to support the singing. I think their resonance threading is also really similar. I'll talk a little bit more about that. See, I'll go back to this part where they're trading off. See if you can figure out what I meant. Ooh, that was a nice little noodle from Phil Collins as they finished off there. Resonance threading. I'm talking about how the sound is directed after it's been created here. So with voice, if you're singing, if you're a human singing, you take a deep breath in. That's step one. Then the breath goes past your vocal folds and they go wacka, wacka, wacka. That's step two. That creates a sound right there. And then after that sound source, the sound is sent through the rest of the vocal tract in some way. And it can be targeting certain areas. You can have a ton of, it's very modular. So you can have your tongue in certain positions and that affects the resonance. You can have the back of your throat, your pharyngeal space can be very differently shaped. And if you think about what it's like to speak in different rooms, like speak in a cathedral, speak in a bathroom, speak in a room that has a ton of carpet, you know that there's different resonance and there's different echo and reverb in all of these rooms. Your mouth is essentially a room for the sound to hang out in, and you have so many different ways you can shape that space, and that'll affect then how the resonance is focused. People also have genetics that affect this, and some people will naturally have a more nasal sound or maybe a smaller or a bigger sound as well. There's so many different things that can affect that. These two men seem like they have possibly similar genetics and just how that is structured, because there's just a fundamental similarity to their sound. But additionally, both of them have an inner smile. So if you just think about smiling inside, you can try and smile a bunch out here too, but it doesn't affect it as much. Inside, there tends to be a lot of soft palate lift, and that creates like, it's a smile in the sound. It's something that VO actors go after quite a bit. They also sound like they have not tons of openness, but like a healthy amount of openness in the pharyngeal space. But then they both have quite a bit of focus on the sound, where it sounds like they're really maybe thinking about targeting the sound waves through this area of the face. So there's a lot of balance essentially between the openness and this targeting. Sometimes we'll call that the results of that chiaroscuro, meaning that it's both bright and dark at the same time. They have a little more brightness, I would say, than your typical opera singer's voice.
I keep crying, maybe, please.
Little jazz. Ooh, I love that noodling. It's so smooth.
You see, you belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take.
That's awesome. I love the way that they're incorporating, I think this is a tenor saxophone, into the whole conversation. Before it was a conversation between the two men's voices, and now the two men are doing a duet and they're having a conversation between our brass instrument here. Really cool. Also, I like this combination of bringing in something smooth like a saxophone, but that has that brighter edge too. It's a good combination of instruments.
Oh, can't you see? You belong to me.
Creepy.
Every step you take, every move you make.
Even there, you can see the smile that is even kept on the outside. There's a certain width to the mouth that Sting is continually maintaining.
How my poor heart aches. Every step you take, every move
Nice holler off
you
there too.
make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
These lyrics are so creepy, y'all. The more I'm hearing this, the more I'm getting into this. I'm just like, whoa. Person does not belong to anybody else. They are their own person. Thank you very much. Ah!
Claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
Ooh,
I'll be
that's a fun
watching
interjection.
every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take.
I have to tell you how impressive right now Phil Collins' clapping is and the tempo, because when you have an audience that big start to clap and start to push a tempo forward, which it sounds like they want to do, but the audience always wants to push it faster more than the group does. And additionally, even singers who are clapping on stage with their own music rarely are perfectly in sync. Of course, this is Phil Collins we're talking about. But even with that, having the crowd clap at this point, there's also this horrible effect that happens on stage of people that are really far back in the audience hearing the sound, right? It's delayed. And so they're clapping to the sound that they hear. And it's not necessarily on time anyway. But they're clapping. And then it takes all of that time for the sound to travel back up to the stage. Do not, unless it's a very small room, bands just cannot trust the audience to clap on time. There's going to be a bit like a whoosh happening because they're all clapping to the time that they hear. And then they're also going to push a tempo faster than it should go. It's really, really, really hard. So I love the way you see Phil Collins. He's essentially subdividing it. And you can see subdividing is like, you can't just think about 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you'll be more specific. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a is a further subdivision. If you're thinking about the little fractions that go into a beat, it makes singers, well, musicians of all types, will be more, just a lot more precise with their rhythm. Back here. You can see him even subdividing in his body.
Every step you take, every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, every single day, every word you say, every game you play. I'll be watching you.
Ooh. Oh, I love that full belted tone. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I want to get that last part one more time.
I'll be watching you.
Oh, that almost reminds me like the tone from Men at Work. Oh, that's a great tone.
Thank you. Have a good time.
Nice. This first deep dive into Sting's voice is a little bit unnerving because these lyrics are just so creepy, but his voice is so comforting. I feel a little bit torn. So I definitely need to hear some more of The Police. I would love your recommendations. Please put those recommendations in the comments below this video, or if you're on Patreon, let me know what Police songs you recommend. And in the meantime, I'm going to put up a playlist of analyses of other comforting voices. May you fall more in love with music every day.